Oh, good evening and welcome to the FITT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer,
And I'm Thomas Doty.
and we are the FITT Show, helping our people get their finances in shape. Welcome, Thomas Doty. How's life these days, my good brother?
Life is good, man. Life is good.
Man, that you can say that is definitely a blessing in itself. Just like to welcome everybody to our show. We're here every Thursday from 8 o'clock until approximately 9, giving you the best information that we can think of to help you accumulate wealth and even think about generational wealth. So we're here. Hope you check us out. Make sure you share on Facebook and also subscribe on YouTube. We just need to make this disclaimer. We're not financial advisors. We're not licensed advisors. We are financial education instructors. We try to provide information that you can use. We don't sell products. We talk generically. We may talk about some products that we buy, but it's only to give you an example of some of the things. We're not encourage you to purchase any particular products or that we may talk about that we may have. And if you hear us talking about the products that we have, it's only because we use them as an example, not trying to encourage you to actually buy any particular products. And we don't recommend any products. And we're not being paid. We don't get paid. And we're not charging for this kind of information. We just want to help our people because, we talk about social justice, where we believe social economic equity is the other social focus that you should be focusing on, which they also was also called the wealth gap. So we're hoping this information will help you. And matter of fact, if you've been following our show, this is our 162nd show. And if you've been following us, you should have been making some money. Not that we were saying encouraging, we were just putting it out there with how they can say it, where the sheep can get it, where the goats can get it. But if you just was following us on basic information, and this is 2.5 years, though, that we've been going. Is that about right?
Yeah, man.
And we've been talking this thing about creating wealth and how it takes work and it takes effort. But if you just took just 1/4 of what we said, and we're not bragging because, like I said, we're not no financial advisors, but you look at it, man, you would be. I mean, just how about just the past week though, when the market went down by over maybe 5%, and it's came back totally 5%. If you would have got in on the low end when the market went down, you would have made 5%. And where can you get that in that sort of time?
I told you that's what I said last week. I said when everybody was moaning and groaning, I said this is the time to buy. This is definitely the time to.
Yeah, but if you go over the long period, because we always talk about the long play, just over 2.5 years. Though I just like to use you just as an example. When did you buy NVIDIA?
Probably over a year ago. It's over a year.
Oh, dude, I thought it was more than a year. It was just a year ago?
It might have been longer. When you get old, Bobby, you think something is a year and it ends up 15 years. But
exactly, dude. I'm there with
I
you.
look it up. It's probably been closer to 2 years.
Yeah, but yeah, but still, though, I thought you bought it 3 years, 4 years ago.
No, I don't think
and though, so just for and remember, y'all, this is just one stock. We know that all stocks don't do this, but what percentage do you think you've made? What is the actual percentage you made on that stock, though?
Bob, I made over $100,000 on that one stock.
Okay, you didn't even go percent. Thank you for dollars is even better.
That's easier to do.
Yeah, people can see dollars, and that's what we're saying, you all. I mean, this thing, what we're talking about, building wealth. Yeah, it takes work, but you don't have to have no degree in finance. You don't have to be no super person. You just need to understand just some of the basics and willing to take some risks. We ain't talking about put your whole house on it, put your whole mortgage or your electricity bill on it. But anyway, I just want to talk and say that for a minute, though, because some people just think we talking. Hope you don't think we're bragging, because we're not. We're just trying to give you information on what we tried and true. And like we said, we ain't no crazy.
But Bob, let me just say, and it's not just picking a stock. What we hope you're learning is skills from budgeting to how to pick a stock, to making sure your insurance is right, making sure your trust and things of that sort are in order. Those are the things that build wealth. We never talk about this magic stock that's going to grow 100 times. That's not our purpose. Our purpose is to teach you financial skills in order to allow you to build wealth. And again, everybody thinks budgeting, what's that worth? Well, budgeting is how you figure out what's coming in and what's going out, and how you can squeeze more out of what you make or what you have coming in, so you can take that difference and invest it. So yeah, it's not about finding the needle in a haystack. It's about building habits that over time will build wealth. And we hope that's what you get out of it.
And like what Dope said, there's several things, not just one thing. It's a combination of things. And it's not, how can I put it, Dope? It's not simple. Let me put it like this. It's simple, it's just not easy.
That's the perfect.
Maybe that's the best way to put it.
It's not brain surgery, but it takes time, it takes effort, and more importantly, it takes discipline.
And thanks for that comment, Noli. My sister Noli said, I like to learn more methods regarding budgeting and methods. Matter of fact, Dope brought that up to me a couple of weeks ago about there were some different budget tools out there that you can use. And thank you, Noli. We're going to do a show on that very soon about and budgeting. I know we talk about budgeting a lot, but we're going to, once again, we like to not just talk about it. We like to be about it. So we like to give you actual examples, not just about budgeting, actually that you can apply in your life. And that's, the whole really premise of our show is we try to not just talk about, but we try to give you tools, and then we try to explain how to apply those to your everyday life. Now, one thing before, I switch off of here and we get into today's show is we try to, we say everybody's financial situation is different. And we know that, right? But there are certain absolutes that you apply. It doesn't matter which level you're on, it works. It just works to different degrees. So when we say, everybody's not the same, when we mention something, it's not all, we're saying, you need to understand what works for you. But once you understand your situation, and we want you all, if anything you get out of this show, the one thing we want you to get is you don't work for your money. You want your money to work for you. Okay. So with that, I'm going to get off my stump, Dope, because as you can see, I'm fired up today, man. And Dope, you know why I'm fired up?
Nope.
Because you got some good news. You better have some good news about the stock.
No, we got good news today, my brother. We got good news.
Okay, here we go. Let's go to the video.
I made some money this week.
Oh, look what I did. I done mess around and hold up, Dope. Hold up. I done went to a different place here.
A couple of weeks ago, I was calling my kids, telling them the Fed's messing with y'all inheritance. We're taking a killing, but it's come back a great deal.
How do they feel about that, Dope?
My kids gonna be okay by themselves. It's kind of a running joke between us. They don't need anything from me. They've done okay.
Yeah, I bet you on this show they be talking about stop the take on foolishness.
but just a real good week, and this is all because, and this is where it gets kind of funny, because the news has been a little down as far as the economic indicators. They've been, let's call them negative, which is showing a slowing in the market or slowing in growth. Because of that says that the Fed is probably going to lower interest rates, which will spur the economy and get things moving again. So we've we were having too much good news before because the economy was growing while the interest rates were still high. But now we're starting to see the cooling in the market, and the Fed, it's almost definite. I wouldn't say definite because nothing's definite, but it's a high probability that the Fed's going to lower interest rates. And the question, it's even whether it's going to be 0.25 of a basis point or half a basis point. And so everybody's optimistic about that right now. And you can see that in the market. S&P's up 4% for the week. NASDAQ's up 5.6. And all my stocks made a killing. Microsoft's up 18 points. Tesla's 15. Apple's 12. Pfizer's flat. That's my dog. And NVIDIA's up 17%. It had been up, went down a little bit. That's the one I told Bob I got back in a little bit more. And so I made a little bit of money on that. And I call that money because I just go in and out as I see fit. And Google, there's a big news came out about Google, and the Justice Department thinks it's a monopoly. There's talk that it may be broken up into pieces because they got too much power. So you can see that reflected in the fact that the stock hasn't changed. But again, this is one of those that, and again, I got in Google at 117, about 100 shares at 117, then I bought another 100 shares at 131. So I'm still doing okay, but I still think it's going to do way better than that because it's being held down. It didn't get the same kick from the market that all the other NASDAQ stocks got. And I think it's just a short-term phenomena while the market tries to digest what's going to happen with this monopoly lawsuit. But great week in the stock market. We'll see if things continue to go up. Everybody's waiting to see what the Fed's going to do in September. And it looks like there's going to be an interest rate cut. It's just a matter of how big that interest rate cut will be.
So, Doe.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about how the market, have bounced back. But today, the economic indicators came out today.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally different from a change from the last few weeks. They show that growth is up over the GDP, which that's the products, is over 3.5%. It's been running around about 2%. So growth is up. The inflation rate, which they've been trying to hammer President Biden on, which he has nothing to do with, is down below 3%, the lowest since 2021. Because
that's a good thing. That's a good thing for interest rate cuts.
Yes, and it was up to 9%. Remember, in
Definitely
2020. So then one of the indicators that showed that oil dependency for the first time, although the Trump administration was saying that they're the ones that got off of oil dependency, which is not true. Just in 2023 is when actually for the first time we became over the threshold of being oil dependency on other countries, which is major. And the other news, though, which affects the economy too, believe it or not, the immigration numbers are down because the policy that George Bush.
Hey, you froze up. You froze up for a minute there.
Oh, how about now? You
good now?
Okay. And another.
I don't like to talk about the political stuff. I'm a numbers guy.
No. These are economic indicators.
Yeah.
Now, yes, they may be political. No. Notice I'm not talking about the political stuff. I'm talking about economic stuff that happens under this administration. That's the political side. But what I'm saying, these are all economic indicators. And believe it or not, immigration is another one that affects, the economy too. And that is way down to 1,500 crossings a month, and it was 4,000 under the other administration. So I'm just saying all this other.
Okay, Bob, you can do your political show after our finance show.
Okay, but no. I just added the immigration thing. But no, the other things about GDP, that's economy. Oil independence, that's economy, and inflation, that's economy. Those are only three. I just went off.
It's just hard to get at what effect they have on the economy versus the numbers that came out that said things are slowing down. I think that's why I mentioned those. Those are the things that kind of give you an indication that the market is, the economy is indeed slowing down, which means the Fed needs to kind of push things up to get things moving again.
Right. Because they want people to spend, and I get it. So with that, and gold is up to almost 2,500 because it went down and it's back up. And silver has been tracking along. And believe it or not, those cannabis stocks, those are starting to move.
It's drug stocks.
Yes. Yeah, that's what they are. But they've been moving up lately, man. And I wonder what's going on. Well, I know what's going on because once again, there were some policy changes with DEA declassifying marijuana from a class 1 to a class 3. And I think that might have effect. But with that, okay, dope. Now, remember I was talking about, was there a correlation between cryptocurrency and the stock market? And I'm finding out, hell no, I don't even know what it is, because now the market is up, but cryptocurrency is down. And its cryptocurrency is down about 4%. Not bad, the total market. But the Bitcoin, which is the number one cryptocurrency, is down about 60%. It's down about $3,500. And remember, though, at one time, a few months ago, it got up to $70,000 a Bitcoin. It's down to $57,638 per coin. And for you people who got in the 2010s and 15s and 16, you should be okay. It's those people who got in around 219 and 220 that might be hurting. But like we say, this is a very speculative investment. So, pay attention and only use money that you can afford to lose. Dogecoin, which was, that's the Elon Musk. And I don't know what Elon Musk is doing. Tesla was up, wasn't it, dope?
Oh, yeah. Tesla's way up.
Yeah, Tesla was up 7.5%. Yeah, right. But that Dogecoin that he's back and they ain't been doing nothing to staying at 10 cents. So don't know what's going on, but that's what's happening with the cryptocurrency market, though. So with that, though, I'd just like to get into today's topic because last week we talked about the truth about homeowners insurance. We hope that was helpful to you because there was a lot of information that people didn't know about and thanked us about and bring it to their awareness, though. But today our subject is called breached. What to do?
Yeah, and that is extremely relevant today and kind of close to my heart. Being an older adult, and older adults are, especially vulnerable to these frauds, and people are getting better at it. AI is helping it move along and become even more realistic. And the numbers of money that people are losing is crazy. They estimated over $3.4 billion in losses in 2023. And a lot of that is older adults, and it's because of cognitive decline. And there's all kind of exploitation out there. You got the old, your computer's broke, I can help you fix it. You got these investments that once in a million, I can help you make double, triple your money. Some of it is just people just stealing, who have power of attorney are stealing money, but you got a lot of Medicare fraud. You got all kind of homeowner scams and reverse mortgage scams, and home improvements is another one that people come in and take down payments and then don't follow through. And you got to look at the warning signs and be aware of what things are out there and all the different phishing scams that are out there. And you got to have a strategy. Now, we say all that, you got to have a strategy, but I think it's a losing battle. It truly is, because everybody has been told about a breach and has been subject to a breach. I mean, right now, I have 3 different identity theft programs free because of data breaches. Well, what happened when the company got breached, they give you a couple of years of identity theft. And so everybody, AT&T, and they just hit the national public data with has all kind of information for all kind of people. And last year alone, 17 billion records were exposed in data breaches.
Wait a minute, that's billion, not million.
17 billion. That's what I said. Yeah, 17
Lord
billion.
Almighty.
That's a lot of information. And you can look on the dark web and you can see if your information is out there. And if you've been notified by your credit card company or retailer, then you understand what I'm talking about. And I doubt very seriously if anybody's listening has not been subject to a breach. It's really important that you take action within the first 48 hours. That could be the difference between stopping it or losing a whole lot of money and wreaking havoc in your financial life.
And though this can cost you money, make no doubt about it. And this is the thing, though. Like you said, you can't stop it, but you can do things to prevent it. And that's the name of the game, to try to put up as many walls to prevent it happening. Because the fact is that plenty of our information is out there on the internet, simply because we go about so much of it on so much of our day online, whether that involves shopping, banking, getting results from our doctors, or simply hopping online to play a game, once in a while. Your personal info is in endless places. You can't do nothing about that, you all. That's how it is. There's a lot of old people, want to rebel about going out here and using technologies, automatic sensors, but it's here. And any one of these places could accidentally expose you to identity theft. It happens with more regularity than any of us like to see. So what do you do when you find out that you and your information may have been caught up in a data breach? Now, one industry research report found that the median time to detect breaches is about 5 days, though, before people actually detect it. Now, needless to say, the timeline can get even more stressed out there, before the word can get to you, right? And that's why it's a good reason to change your passwords on a regular basis. You know why? Because if you get caught up swept up in a breach, guess what? The hackers' outdated passwords is no good to hackers. So that's even more the reasons why you need to regularly, and we got to talk about it, change your passwords, because the outdated password is no good to a hacker. So while it can feel like things are out of your hands, there are actually several things you can do to protect yourself.
Yeah, the first thing you got to do when you find out you've been breached is figure out what information was compromised. And that can be scary. It can make you feel violated, so to speak. But you can't let the panic stop you from taking the steps that you need to take and do them as soon as you can. So you got to find out what information was compromised. And if, depending on what it is, it's obviously going to affect how urgent you react to it. In 2024, United Healthcare Group was cyber attacked at its healthcare unit, and they got social security numbers, credit card data, bank account numbers, medical record numbers, diagnosis, medicines, test results. They got just about everything. And so that means you really got to react and get moving on straightening out your life, basically, because you got to notify the major credit bureaus, you got to go to your bank, but if it's only your phone number and email addresses, obviously you don't have to react as fast. And so if you're unsure about what to do, you can always go to the FTC. That's identitytheft.gov/data breach. Go to that website, and they actually have recommendations on how to proceed based on what type of information was exposed.
That's good stuff, though. The next one, if you had a data breach, Okay, to prevent and help you with those major data breaches, which you heard about, you got to change your passwords, which I just mentioned. Now, armed with your sensitive personal information, it may not take skilled hackers long to figure out the password to your email or your bank account. Especially if you, like some people, simply using birth dates and your pet's name, like Bobo. That's why you should change the passwords to all your pertinent accounts as soon as possible. Now, I know a lot of people, we talk about this, and a lot of people do not like the hassle, of having to change the passwords and remember a new password. But to avoid having to remember a long list of online passwords, use a password manager. There's one out there called LastPass, LASTPASS, which uses a browser extension to store multiple account passwords and it encrypts the information. This is just one. I'm not saying use this one, but this is one I want to use as an example. It makes it easier, and you only need to remember the tool you use as password rather than a long list of passwords. The service includes a multi-factor authentication login process. This means in addition to inputting your master password, users have to input a special code to send a secondary device, such as a text message to your smartphone before you can log in. Now, these type of tools offer several different plans and types. Some have free versions for you to use, and some of them like $3 to $7 a month, and are available for your personal or business use. And they include encrypted files. So some of y'all who keep using the same password everywhere, it's not good. But if you do use that same password, every now and then go and change the password. Because like I said before, when they do data breaches and your stuff gets swept up in a data breach, an old password is no use to a hacker.
And Bob, I'd go stronger than that. I'd say don't use the same password over and over again.
No, you should. You should. No,
use a complex password with caps, lowercase, numbers, special characters, dashes. They make it very difficult. We've talked about this several times. Building wealth is not easy. As Bob said, it's not simple, but it takes some work. This is one of the things you have to work to do. Have good, solid passwords and change them often. The next thing you got to make sure you have is transactions alerts. If you don't have transactions alert set up on your credit cards and your bank statement, then I'm not going to say anything mean, but it's a shame if you don't, because you should. And you got to set them up for the smallest dollar amount possible, because the hackers are smart now. They don't always do $2,000 transactions. They may just do a whole bunch of $15 transactions. So mine are always set up to whatever the smallest number is. If it's $1, it's $1. If it's 99 cents, it's 99 cents. But I get a text message and an email whenever a transaction is posted to one of my credit card accounts or my bank accounts. And I get both, because if I have several different alerts set up, you can get an alert for the dollar amount. You can get an alert if a transaction was made and the card wasn't present. You can get an alert if a transaction was made internationally. There's millions of things you can get alerts for, and you should set them up and make sure you know when somebody's hitting your bank account or any credit cards. And it's just real important that you do that.
And dope, it's free.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
It's free. Come on. And I'm telling y'all, like you said, we can't stop them, but what you can do is prevent them as much as you can. Now, this next one may sound the same, but it isn't. It's called initiate a fraud alert. The last what Dope was talking about was transaction alerts on bank accounts and other financial institutions that you deal with, credit cards and stuff. But this is an added layer of protection considered placing fraud alert on your credit reports. Now, you can request a fraud alert if you've been a victim of data breach or if your wallet Social Security card, or other form of personal identification has been lost or stolen, and this is according to the Federal Trade Commission. Now, fraud alert requires a business or financial institution to verify your identity first before issuing a new line of credit. You know how sometimes you get these things that you've been approved. What they're doing, they're going out there and they looking at your credit. But if you put a fraud alert, this will protect them from going out there, checking on your daggone your credit. Now, financial institution is free and it remains active for a year. If necessary, you can even renew it. Now, how to do it? You need to just contact one of the major credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax, and request it. Now, each credit bureau is required to notify the other bureaus about the alert. So make sure your most recent contact information is on file.
Okay, the next one is freeze your credit. And that's not something you should do when you get breached. That's something you should do all the time. Like all three of my credit reports are frozen right now. And if I decided, well, I think maybe 4 months, February, I applied for a PNC credit card because they were giving $300. And y'all know how I am about that. I like my free money. And so I applied for a credit card and I forgot that I had it frozen. So they called me up and said, oh, your credit report's frozen. I went to the app, unfroze it, they hit it, I froze it right back. There's no reason you should have your credit file available for people to check, to add new accounts. It's so simple to freeze it and unfreeze it. It's an app and it's a button. That's how simple it is. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. Now, I will tell you, when you first set it up, it might be a little difficult. And I'm trying to remember because I think when you first set it up, they ask you a lot of questions, and it's like a test because they'll ask you like, you lived at one of these addresses, which one is correct? Or you had a car note that was X dollar amount. So you got to know what you're doing, but it's worth it. There's no reason your credit files should not be frozen. You don't need to have them open all the time. If you decide to buy a car or a house, it's a very simple task to unfreeze your credit file. As long as it's frozen, nobody can open a new account in your name. So it makes no sense not to have your credit files frozen.
And though this is a wow, man, this is a really big one though, because and this is the one really that, other than the fraud alert, this is the one, I'm sorry, that is, if there's people trying to check on, giving you approved credit cards and all of that, they won't be able to do it. And this is the one when you put the freeze on your account. But how it works is, say you have a freeze on, and then you get ready to go look for a car. All you do is go, and it's simple, right? You can just
it's a button.
Switch it back to, they can check it, right? And then if you look for the car, then just put it back. Or if you're going for a new mortgage, a loan, just put it on. And this, to me, though, is one.
Hey, Bob, I did it while I was on the phone. They called me up and said, I can't access your credit file. I said, okay, hold a minute. I'll open it up. Bing, they checked it, and I locked it right back.
Wow. No, to me, this is the biggest one that can help us. And sometimes, though, we don't like to do the work because this sometimes is an inconvenience. But sometimes you need to be inconvenienced. To me, this is the biggest one, though. And I haven't done it, and this reminded me I need to do it. I'm sorry, because I keep forgetting, but I need to do this one because this stops all of that crazy stuff, though. And if I'm right, though, is it considered 100% proof?
Which one?
Credit freeze.
That's 100%.
Yeah, I just want to check because some of them.
Nobody's gonna open a new account for you if they can't check your credit.
Boom. And those people go out there trying to get your information. So
yeah, and if anybody needs help with that, let us know, and we'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
But it makes no sense not to have your credit files frozen.
especially if you're not out there every month, every 6 months, every day, trying to go out there and get your credit check. And if you do, that actually is a little sign that what's up with you.
Yeah, I just got another email from Apple. They want to give me $300 to open a credit card too. So I'm gonna go get that $300 too, Bob.
You the BP miser. You ever saw that? I love it though. That's why you make what you do. Next one is, and we've talked about this before, but we got to remind you because credit breaches happen so much. Is chances are, you're on high alert in weeks and months after you have a sensitive personal information have been compromised for data breach. This is the time to be extremely vigilant and keep your close eye on your credit report. You need to monitor your credit report. We talk about this all the time. And it's simple to do, but like I say, it takes the inconvenience of you to take the time, put your password, go into one of your free credit report areas. We get your password and go in there. And doing this will help you flag any specific activity as soon as it happens. You'll see it. There's several sites, online services where you can get a free copy of your credit report, monthly, weekly, or annually. And now under the annual credit report.com. Remember, there's one out there called freeannualcreditreport.com. That is not free. That is not the one from the 3 major credit bureaus. It's annualcreditreport.com. This is the only place where you can request a complete report of all 3 major credit bureaus: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. The report will be with so much with text and a level of detail, and it can be overwhelming. But check for any accounts or charges you don't recognize. Now, another site is creditkarma.com. It's free. But the thing about Credit Karma, you have to be kind of, they provide this for free, but sometimes Credit Karma, when they give you a credit score, it could be a few points higher or a few points lower than when you go with the normal major credit bureaus. But a lot of people do use Credit Karma, and I worry about Credit Karma because anything is free. Nothing for free. Seems like there's always something if they do it for free like this. But it's a good place to go. You can register and get weekly comprehensive updates on your Equifax and TransUnion credit reports. The site also provides financial calculators and other resources to help you better understand your credit report. Now, Experian you have to register and create an account on their website to receive a free updated Experian credit report every 30 days now. They do it every 30 days. You can request one a year for free, but now they provide them every 30 days for you. And you can also get notification alerts to help identify potentially fraudulent activity. Now, don't underestimate the importance of carefully examining your bank accounts and credit cards, like we say. Sometimes the first sign of identity theft is an erroneous charge on a monthly statement. And you can see these things actually on your credit report too. So if a company responsible for exposing your information offers you a free credit monitoring, take advantage of it. Like Doe said, he has 3. I got 2.
Yeah, just make sure it's legit. That's all I'll tell you. Because that's another scam that's out there. Because when you do sign up for those identity theft programs, they get all of your information, and it's kind of funny. I have one through Fidelity because of my brokerage account, and I believe it's I want to say it's Norton, but anyway, I got a scam email from Norton saying we're going to charge your account because you haven't paid for your monitoring service, and it looked totally legit, but it was totally bogus. And the other thing, Bob, you didn't mention with the credit report. Not only is there possibility of identity theft, but mistakes happen. I mean,
big one, big.
Companies can make mistakes as far as missing a payment that you made. They could show you having a late payment when you don't have a late payment. So you want to check your credit report just to make sure, one, you aren't getting money stolen from you, but also that is correct. Okay, so it's not just identity theft. The next one is the phishing scams, which I just mentioned. I got the one from Norton. It looked so legit, and I actually thought about it for a minute. Wait a minute, that's free, so I shouldn't be getting a bill. But with all these breaches, the crooks are getting their hands on email addresses and phone numbers, and they're using that to come at you with, I must get every other day something's trying to be delivered to the post office, but they don't have all the information, which I know is a scam. And so the crooks are using that information to send you a scam saying, you got this coming, you got that coming, we need more information. And it's all they're trying to do is get more information. So you have to be aware and not fall for the traps. And they're going to try to pressure you into making a payment on the phone. They'll talk about an overdue bill. They'll threaten legal action. You got to know it's a scam. And just, it's the old thing. If you don't know who's calling you, hang the phone up. Don't even answer it. If you don't know who's calling you, don't answer it. They'll leave a message and you can find out if it's legit or not. Government agencies, the IRS, they won't ever call you and request payment. It's not going to happen. They always send you notifications through the mail, and you can get it and see that it's legit. But if you get these emails, again, if you don't know who it's from, just delete it, because you don't want to click on a link by accident, because you may open an attachment that may end up putting some malware on your computer. So you don't want to get your computer infected. So again, if you don't know who it's from, don't even open it. Never authenticate yourself over the phone if you're contacted by someone. If you aren't sure, hang up and call the number that you know is legit. For example, Aetna will call me. That's my healthcare. They'll call me just to ask, how was my visit, or how am I doing? And I'll tell them, I don't know who you are. I'm going to call the main number and have them patch me through to you. But I don't give any information to somebody calling me on the phone, because they don't know. I don't know who they are, and you don't have to either. So please just be cognizant of these fake emails and these fake text messages telling you got a package over here, that we need more information. You got to know if you got a package coming or not. And a lot of times they barrage you with these things, hoping to catch you with your guard down. So you got to be diligent. And again, just if you aren't alert and really into checking, then don't even look at your email. You need to be aware if somebody's trying to scam you.
And don't look, backtrack for a minute. Modestine and Garnett said they really would like to know how to do the credit free. So maybe next week we'll take the time and just show you.
Okay. But and in the meantime, tell them to download the Experian, TransUnion,
Equifax.
Download those apps, and we can walk through it.
Yes. And Doug, I want to mention another thing about email scams. One of the ways you are, because now they are sending you these emails and they're using logos like from the company, and they're not really the company logo, but they could look like the company's logo, so the email looks legitimate. But one of the ways that you can find out, click on the from button. And when you click on the from button, this is how you normally can tell a scammer. They'll have a personal email, or they have these jumbled letters and numbers. Because if it's coming from like the customer service of McAfee or Norton, it'll have their company's email address with extension.com. You look at these other ones, all you got to do is click on the from button, and you'll see immediately, oh, this is not from them, it's a scammer, because it's going to be either a personal email. It ain't going to be, you're not going to be receiving no email from some corporation that has somebody's personal email in it. So that's another way to catch it. Just click on the from button. You'll see immediately that it's a scam, especially look at the extension, because there's only a few extensions, right, by the way, you all, that are legitimate. and that's .com, .org, and it's only a couple of more. And if you really look, you don't see those extensions. Those are not really legitimate. Just want to throw that out there, though. So let's talk, though, right quick. We talked about breaching, your information being breached and stolen and stuff out there. But I think we also need to talk about checks. Now, this is interesting. Fraud proofing a check. How to write a fraud proof check. Now, fraudsters have found favorable ways to alter the names and amount on checks you've written. They use simple steps you can use simple steps to prevent them from taking your money. Now, it may seem as though check writing is becoming a lost art, but it remains a popular way to send money. And I didn't realize this because I don't write that many checks. Really, I can't think of any that I've written in a while. But a recent study by Abrigo company, which is a fraud prevention software, found that 61% of America still write checks, though.
That's a shocker to me because I know my kids ain't never seen a checkbook.
Yeah, but 61%, because we still got a lot of baby boomers out there, us old dudes and dudes. If you're among them that write these checks, here are a few simple precautions you can take to avoid fraud and theft.
And the first thing is people are getting these checks and they're washing them and stealing identity. And that's where they change the payee name or the dollar amount on the check and then deposit it, okay? They can also steal checks from mailboxes. In Cleveland, they had a guy buying master keys from postal workers, and they busted that scam. And so you don't want to be putting your checks in a mailbox, that's for sure. But what they do, they get a chemical, they wash off the name, and they rewrite it to themselves or to an account that they have access to. But to avoid that, make sure you fill out all the required fields on the check, and if possible, use an indelible ink, or don't use a ballpoint pen. Use a gel tip pen. That's a little bit harder to wash off the ink. The ballpoint pen is easier to wash off. Okay. Don't leave any blank spaces. If there's a blank space next to the dollar amount, then draw a line through it so they can't add anything to it or alter it. Okay. That's the best way to keep them from adding to it, to a check that you've already written. And don't put a whole lot of your personal information on the check. You don't need to have your driver's license number on there. You don't need your social security number on there, or anything else that a thief could use to steal your identity. Okay. Try to keep it as plain as possible. Make sure you fill out everything and use an ink pen that's not easily washed.
So, Doe, let me explain to people why the ink pen that you use is important. Now, the one that actually, like Doe is talking about, a gel type of pen, is called all the uniball pens. This is what happens, Doe. When they print a check, and remember, y'all, this is the other reason why checks are going out. Checks are not printed by banks. Did you know that? Checks are printed by third-party companies. Banks do not print checks. That's one way where your information is going. This is the other reason why, how they can pull the information off the checks from our FDIC fraud classes that are too. When they're using those printers, they are printing dot matrix printers, and what is happening, the ink is sitting on top of the paper. It's not faded into the paper. So they just, and there's different solutions that you can get, they told us, from CVS, that you can wash these checks and pull all that information off. That's why if you use a uniball pen or a gel pen, it bleeds into the paper, so they can't take it off. And that's how they actually wash the checks, because it's sitting on top of the paper and they have the solution. So just wanted to share that information with individuals. Though I want to talk about you mentioned this, mailing checks. Now, there's a way to mail checks safely, right? If you're sending a check through the mail, put it in a security envelope, which has what they call a crosshatch pattern on the interior to mask the envelope's content. Or if you use a standard envelope, wrap the check in a piece of paper before you place it inside. Now, we suggest you take your check to a post office. Because like Doe said, people just go into mailboxes nowadays and they be searching in your neighborhood to see, so rather to mail it, put it in, take it straight to the post office inside and put it in the mailbox, not your home mailbox. This is where thieves are able to intercept your information easily, and they be going through neighborhoods. They did in our neighborhood like that. For extra protection, say for a large payment, you can send a check by certified mail, which required a recipient to provide a signature upon delivery. Finally, always follow up with payees to make sure they receive your check. I mean, I know a lot of people, and so some people say, why do people write checks? Like a lot of people who rent, they actually write checks. A lot of people who give gifts these days write checks. And even though most other people don't use them, there are people that use checks for those modes. But, you need to protect yourself.
Yeah, and the checkbook era is coming to an end. It's companies are starting to not take checks. Target, Aldi, Whole Foods, they no longer take checks. And the big reason is because the identity theft possibility is great when it comes to check. I mean, think about how stupid this is. Your account number and routing number is on the front of the check. So when you set up a payment to come out of your checking account, those are the two numbers that you input. You input your account number and the routing number. That's on the check. So thieves, if they get a hold of your check, they have access to your account. And that's why I avoid writing checks at all costs. And most young people between the ages of 25, 30, they've never written a check. And they are able to handle all their business without writing checks. This era is starting to go away. And because of the shortcomings in security, I'd strongly recommend you cut down on writing checks.
And you're not going to have any other choice soon, though, because like you say, companies are not going to take them. Retailers are not going to take them. So why not get ahead of the game? And I know you baby boomers out there, old schoolers, like the old school way, and you know who I'm talking to, my sister. I ain't going to say which one. I know that means I put other sisters out there. But you know which sister I'm talking about. She don't like it. But I'm telling you all, cash may be ending too. Some retailers, though, are not taking cash anymore because of security problems, because of robberies. Now, retailers, are so worried about theft these days. And no, most millennials and Generation X's and Y's and Z's, they don't even carry cash. My little melody doesn't even carry cash. So this is one way to help us. I know my good friend out there, Steve Martin, he's old school. He said, I just don't trust that online cash app and Zelle stuff, Bob. And I'm like, Steve, I'm sorry, but to resist is futile because that's the day and age we're going to. So that's why this show is so important, so that you can understand ways to protect your information, because we are in the information age. We are all in the technology age.
Yeah. Bottom line, Bob, you got to automate your finances. It's much easier and safe to automate, pay your bills online, either have the vendor go in and take the money, or you can do bill pay and push the money. You talk in terms of pull. The vendor pulls the money, you push your money. That's when you decide when it's paid versus giving the vendor access to pull it out when he's ready. and I do most of I let the vendor get it most of the time. And it eliminates mailing checks. You don't have to worry about late payments. You just got to make sure you got enough money in the account, obviously. It's easier to monitor because you know what date the money's going to come out. It just makes your life a little simpler, and it's safer to just automate it, get your stuff set up so you aren't writing many checks.
So let's go to the summary and takeaways, because once again, that's a lot of information for people to remember, and we just want you to, we want to recap for you. So be prepared to react immediately. It's so important. Like Doe said, you got to react within 48 hours, man. You know, that's so important. Like sometimes it takes 5, days for them to discover a breach. But if you can identify it, go immediately. And that's one of the ways to make sure you can prevent, your money being taken, man. So just make sure you react immediately. As soon as you find out, go find out what information's been breached.
Hey Bob, I gotta record your "Stop That Foolishness" comment so I can play it whenever I want it. This is one of those cases where you need to do it. Use strong passwords, change them periodically. It's too much risk involved not to have good passwords, because people are going to steal your information anyway. Don't make it easy for them by having easy passwords, and strongly recommend getting a password manager as opposed to writing all your passwords on a sheet of paper, because somebody gets that sheet of paper, you're stuck. Or if you lose that sheet of paper, you're also stuck. So automate.
Third, use the available technologies, like what we said, the fraud alerts, the freezes, the monitoring services. Use technologies to our advantage. I know a lot of y'all don't trust technologies, but they actually have a benefit to us, and use them because there's so many tools out there and they're free, like the freeze alert, the fraud alert, check and monitoring your credit reports. Those are all free. You get one free credit report a year. Now Experian is giving you one every 30 days. So use them, y'all, and apply them. It really is going to help you.
Yeah, try to avoid writing checks, but if you have to, make sure you safeguard it. Make sure you fill out all the things. You use an ink that's not easily washed. You don't put your check in the mailbox. You take it inside the post office. And better yet, if you can take it to the person that you're delivering it to, that's even better, which it may not be practical, but if there's any way possible, that's the best way to make sure that they get it. But even if you do that, if they have it, that doesn't guarantee that they won't lose it. So if you got to write a check, do all the things you can to try to make sure it doesn't get stolen.
Yeah, so we hope this was helpful, you all. What to do when your information is breached. It's happened to all of us. And we're here next week. It will be our 163rd show, though. And I'd just like to tell y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. I'd like to do our roll call. Got a lot of people on around the country and around the world. But my sisters, Linda, Nolia, and Gloria, thank you all. Man, I depend y'all support us every week and the week out. Y'all are on here unless you fell asleep. You know what I'm talking about. And Modestine, what's up, girl? What's happening in Lexington, South Carolina? Y'all know Modestine has now become a what do you call it? Residence of South Carolina now. She's left the Washington, D.C. area. My good brother Carl Chapman, how you doing? Garnett, good to see you. And the wonderful Now Doty, you wonderful person. Thank you for being there for us now. And who else? Who am I leaving out? Oh, Pam Hill. Oh, my UDC classmate that helped me through UDC because I couldn't type worth a damn. Thanks, Pamela. So glad they got the computers now. But you were there. Thank you. And Nola and my man, Malik Vanderpool. Malik, I hope you're still on, man. Thank you, Malik. Manizzle. He said, "What's up, Bob Dizzle?" Yes, that's my young guy. Malik is such an entrepreneur, though. This mother got a couple of apartment buildings in D.C. Young guy.
Bob, just curious, how's your book doing?
Thank you for reminding them. The book is doing really well. Thank you for asking, Dope. And I just want to share with people where to go out to get my book, by the way. And can you see that, Dope?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Dope. My book is doing real well on Barnes & Noble and Amazon and my publisher, Durant's Publishing Company. This is my website, Dope, BobbyKinzer.com, where you can go out there and purchase my book. And if you have purchased the book, please give me a review on Barnes & Noble or either Amazon. I really would appreciate it. But this is my website. It's a bunch of information about the book, and I would love for you to go out there and check it out. Thank you, Dope, for reminding me. I appreciate that, my good brother. And the book is, just $19.95, and electronically, it's only $14.95. So thank you for that, my good brother. And with that, you all, we'd like to thank you all. And Dope, as we always leave, it would not be a complete show without the quote of the week. And my quote of this week, Dope, is, never be a prisoner of your past. It was just a lesson, not a life sentence. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it took a little while to react to that, though. You didn't like that one?
I'm always so nervous of what you're going to say. It takes me a while to get back to normal.
Why are you acting like you know me?
Because I do.
Because you do. All those years, at least 40 years, God dang, though, something else. But thank you, everybody. Hey, by the way, Dope, I'm coming to you from Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina. We took Melody. This is her last year, you all.
And I can't believe it.
And undergrad, because she's getting ready to do, she's applied to the University of Pittsburgh to their doctorate program when she graduates from UNC. So hopefully she gets accepted and become a doctor in physiotherapy. So God is good and time be moving fast, though. Oh, my goodness, man. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure, share this information, tell more people. Y'all, we want more people to get on here, which we've been building a great following. And thank everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Same bat channel, same back place. Have a good day.